If you are tuning in, you are live with us. If you're following us on Facebook, thank you for joining. Please do leave your comments in the comments box below and we'll read them out later. If you are following via TuneIn Radio, thank you very much for following. And you can leave your comments also with the number I will give you shortly. So, this is Happy Hour. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're so glad to have you with us tonight, and it feels so good to be back in the studio. For those of you who have never ever tuned into Happy Hour before, it's actually something that we've been doing for over 2 years now, Happy Hour. But we have more recently moved to a new studio, which is COP UK Radio. So again, for you new listeners, this is for you. So it's a new show for you. We have new guests, new segments, brand new Happy Hour for you first-time listeners. And we are a kind of show that covers all types of topics, injecting the word of God and creating a platform for conscious thinking.
That is right. And we try to go where other shows won't go. You know, we don't just bring you the normal, we bring you refreshing news and hot topics, discussions on love, crime, abuse, money, relationships, politics, whatever you can think of, we discuss it right here.
That is right. And as I said earlier, we do have a fantastic show just for you. And we have an amazing guest in the studio this evening. She is contributing something very special to this generation. And we're going to speak to her in a short while. She's a massive inspiration, seriously. So please, as I said earlier, do not leave your phone. If you're watching via your mobile or your laptop, however you're following us, please take it with you. Even if you're going to have a bath, take it to the bathroom because you really can't miss this.
Pop it up.
Yes, please.
On the toilet, put the seat down. Just,
yes.
You know.
Even if you're going to do a number 2, just put it on your lap. We really don't mind. We really don't mind. We want you to get involved as well. So you can tweet your thoughts to @COPUK Radio, #HHTZ, which is Happy Hour Tuesdays. Or you can leave a WhatsApp with your name to 07983567111. I believe that's the right number. Or if you're watching us from Facebook Live, please leave a comment.
That is right. And we're back.
We are back.
As Angel said, you know, it's Testimony Tuesdays once again. And we have a very special guest here to share her testimony. You've seen it all over, you know by now. But yes, I'm excited for that. And I can't wait.
Yes.
But before we get to that, how has your week been?
My week? It's been rather pleasant. It's been okay. Done what I've needed to do, so it's been really productive. Today I'm actually celebrating my 2nd year wedding anniversary.
Whoop.
Thank you.
We had them horns.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm really chuffed about that. It's been 2 years now, and it's been a very pleasant 2 years, and you know, we're praying that God would take us through the remaining days of our lives. So. Right. Yeah, I'm in a very good mood today, and in a celebrating mood. So, generally a good week, good day. How about you? How's your week been?
It's been okay. Same as you, been very productive, actually. I'm making progress. As you know, I'm getting married soon. So been planning and, I've been making very good progress with that. It's been a good week. Can't really complain. It's been good, and just looking forward to the coming days. And I think we're just all in a good mood today. I hope you guys are in a good mood too.
Yes, and if you're not, we're gonna make your mood change. Right. We're determined. Aren't we, Audrey?
We are very determined. We're gonna change your lives today.
So, guys, during our last show, we had the amazing My Runway group returning to the studio to share their experience about how they feel their production went, and it was a pretty good show. It was a good show.
It was fun. It's always fun having the guys up here.
Yes.
Yeah. So welcome anytime. It was so fun.
It was really fun. So we'd like to shout you out. Shout out to My Runway group. Guys, if anyone wants to get in touch with My Runway or needs to know would like to know any information about them, you can follow them at My Runway Group. They're literally on every social media platform. So, right, enough about that. The show is about to begin, and we don't want to keep our lovely guest waiting any further. We're about to speak to her in a very, very, very short. So, as I mentioned earlier, please do get involved and share your thoughts. It's at COP UK Radio, hashtag HHTZ, or send a WhatsApp with your name to 0783 567 111. If you're watching live on Facebook, please do leave your comment below and we will read them later on in the show.
That is right. So, as promised, you guys have seen it everywhere. We've been showing her about, or her picture rather, on social media, and it's now time to speak to our special guest and find out her life-changing testimony. So before we do that, we would just like to remind you that if you have got any questions for our special guest, you can do so by using the hashtag Testimony Tuesdayz with a Z, and you can leave a comment on our Facebook page or our Instagram page, which is Happy Hour Tuesdayz, or you can tweet us at CAP UK Radio and hashtag AskEM. And that stands for Emmanuella, of course. Yeah, so if you have got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask them. That's why she's here, and she will try to answer them as best as she can.
Yes, thank you, Audrey. So, where do I start? Right. If you've been following us, as Audrey said, you would know who we have. But if you haven't, don't worry. We're about to introduce her just for you. So, her testimony outlines the reality of dark things that happen to children and young people, and she is a living testimony of someone who has managed to come out victorious. She decided to speak out about this very thing and perhaps become a beacon of light for other youngsters within this generation who may have suffered or been a victim of abuse. She is also a motivational blogger, inspirational speaker, a worshipper, and fashionista. If that's even a word, I just made it up. Yes. She also likes the colour pink, just to lighten the mood a little bit. It's no other than our sister, Emmanuella Nana Marfo.
Hi.
Hi. We're so excited to have you in the studio.
Thank you for having me.
You're more than welcome. So, we'd just like to get to know a little bit about Emmanuella and what you stand for. So, could you tell us something about yourself that maybe we don't know?
So yeah, my name is Emmanuella. I'm 20, and something that people don't know, I really love to cook. All my friends that know me or people that have me on my Snapchat know that when I'm not out and I'm not in ministry and I'm not at uni, I'm cooking. I'm in my kitchen.
Nice.
I can cook everything and anything.
Nice. You hear that, guys? Nice.
She likes to cook.
So, many would say that you are brave to share your testimony, and it's because it's not an easy subject or easy topic to kind of speak about. In your own words, can you tell us a bit about your testimony and what happened?
Okay, so at the age of 9, I was sexually abused by someone that was a very close friend of my family, my dad's best friend, so somebody that I saw as like a second dad. So if my dad wasn't there, this is the person that essentially I'd probably see as my father figure.
Right.
And it was a case of whereby it would have been very hard for others to detect because of how close we were with them. So it's something that, you would never have imagined, and I never would have imagined that person saw me in that way and would want to do something like that to me. And it happened across over a year. And it was a case whereby at the age that I was 9, I knew that what was happening was wrong, but I didn't know how to explain it. I didn't know the words to use to say that this and this is happening to me. And I was threatened by my abuser not to speak out. Otherwise, I would never see my family again. So it was something that, I sat there and I was like, I can't have this happening. I need my family around me. So I felt as though I had to keep quiet for the rest of my life. And I didn't tell anybody what happened for 5 years until one day I opened up to my parents. I couldn't tell them face to face, and I had to send them a text message after the police had come to my school, and they said that if anybody has ever done any of these things to you, it is wrong. You need to speak out. And that was when I understood that what had been done to me was wrong, and I had to say something. And when I did open up to my mum, we went through the whole police proceedings. You know, I had an interview with the police. I had a 3-hour-long interview with the police, detailing everything that happened to me in fine detail from the beginning to the end. And at the end of it, we went to court. The person was prosecuted, and I came out of that. In court, I decided to defend myself without a lawyer. And they were surprised. They said to me, you know, we understand that you want to speak out for yourself, but this is a very delicate issue, and, you know, you're quite a tender age. At the time of the court proceedings, I was 14. And I said to them, do you know something? This happened to me, and nobody on this planet can tell my story better than I can.
Right.
You know, the lawyer could have been a lawyer for 30 years, but there is no way that he is going to evoke the same amount of emotion and the same amount of reality into the story as I can. I need to be able to stand up and speak for myself. And little did I know that that was just, you know, the beginning of my healing process, essentially. The beginning of a very long healing process, but it was probably one of the most important steps to take.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. I mean, it takes a lot of strength to share something as immoral, just the way you did. So thank you very much. It is said that if you can openly talk about something immoral that has happened to you, this is an indication that perhaps you are overcoming it or have overcome it. Would you agree with this?
To some extent, I do agree with it. When you are able to speak about something that has happened to you that wasn't right, it's a way of you releasing whatever pain and whatever hurt you have from that. Speaking is such amazing therapy. You know, there's so many talking therapies out there, and I know at times we might shun them. And even when I went through what I went through, they offered me counselling and I turned it down. And when I look back now, I think to myself that maybe I should have taken that step, because being able to sit there and actually relive what's happened to you, it may seem as though you're reliving a part of your life that you'd want to keep shut, but you need to be able to open up about it, because when you're able to speak about it, you're releasing whatever pain you suffered from that point. However, it depends on what way you speak about it and to who you speak about it and what your intention behind speaking about it is. If you're still really hurt and you're looking for pity, you will speak about it in a way that makes you seem as though you are still victimized from what happened to you. You need to be able to speak about it from a place of courage and a place of strength. So before you speak about it, the first person you speak to about it is God. That is the beginning.
Wow.
You sit down and you say to God, God, I acknowledge that this and this and this has happened to me. I acknowledge and I understand that it wasn't right, but I want to emerge from this. I want to emerge into a place of strength. I don't want to remain a victim. And when you're able to speak about it in that sense, that is when you're able to open up about it in a way that makes you seem as though you are a victor. So when I talk about it, I don't like, making myself seem victim as like, oh, it was so traumatic. Of course, it was traumatic, but from that trauma, I've been able to bring something positive. So you need to be able to speak about it and bring a positive light around it in order to say this and this is what happened to me. But however, this and this is what I have become. And through this, I have become this person. And through this, I've been able to conquer this. That is how you need to be able to speak about it. So there's two ways of speaking about it. Being able to speak about it is a way of overcoming it, but you need to speak about it in a way that makes you seem as though you are really and truly able to use it to encourage others. Yeah.
Wow, well said. Well said. Just bouncing off that, according to the NSPCC website, 1 in 3 children who have been abused decided not to tell anyone. It doesn't specify why, but it just says that they decided not to tell anyone. Now, I applaud you and your courage for being able to talk about it the way you do. Why have you decided to share your story now?
It's something that God placed on my heart about 2 years ago, and it was a case of whereby it would keep coming up in sort of like visions, and you know, people would see and say to me, you know, there's something special about you, there's something about you that needs to come out in order for others to see. But I was never really too sure. So it was a case of whereby God kept convicting me and kept saying, you need to share your story, you need to share your story.
Right.
And at the point I thought to myself, what story are you indicating? Because, you know, like, I've seen and been through a lot, so what story in particular are you talking about? And, you know, I had to pray and fast and, you know, read the word of God and discern in order for me to be able to discern what God wanted me to do. And he sat there and he said, you need to share that story that is individual to you, because there are lives out there that need to be saved. And I sat there and I was like, you know what, this is such a big conviction, and I didn't know how to go about it. I was like, but how do I share this? You know, I can't just send like a WhatsApp broadcast and say, hi guys, this and this is what happened to me. And, you know, I can't just, you know, just make a video and send it to everybody. Like, I need to do it in a way that is going to impact as many people as I can. And it was so strange because one day I was just sitting on Instagram and I saw one of my followers post that, you know, he said, my friend is taking part in this. She wants to start this project called Renewed, that highlights people that have been victims of different types of abuse. And if you'd like to be a part of it, send me a DM and we'll move forward from there. So I saw it and I was like, you know, I sat there and I was like, is this the golden opportunity that I'm looking for? And I prayed about it for about a day or two. And I was like, you know what? This is what I need to do. And I spoke to my mum when I was doing it. And, you know, as many parents within our culture would be like, they're like, oh no, how can you speak about this? You know, how can you talk about this? What if people look at you in a different light? What if it affects you getting married in future? And I was like, do you know what? But this story, this is me. I have to speak about it because the strength and everything that's emerged from this. And if I want to stand as a motivational and inspirational speaker, people need to know where I'm coming from. Every person that speaks in a way of motivation and inspiration has a story. They have a background. I need to share that background because there's no way that I can just, you know, portray myself as somebody who emerged as an inspiration just from being inspirational. There needs to be something that fueled that inspiration, and there is something that fueled that inspiration, and I need to share that something in order for people to get to know where my passion for inspiration and where my passion for God and where my passion for worshiping actually comes from. And that is what I said. And I sent a message and I was like, hi, my name is this and this is what I've been through and I'd love to take part. And that was my amazing sister, Miracle. She's called Miracle S&M on Instagram. Please follow her. She started a series called Renewed, and that was where I took the step and I went, and that was the video that is now on YouTube on the Renewed series page. And that was literally how I shared it. And
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that takes a lot of courage because, especially in our culture, it's often a taboo to kind of speak about these type of subjects, especially if it's someone who is considered family or someone who's considered a family friend. I mean, it happens all the time, but I guess people don't see it as that. Like you said, it wasn't something that you thought was wrong at first. So how would you say, or what is the best way to kind of accommodate speaking about these topics?
I feel as though it all starts with parents need to build a really strong relationship with their children, especially in this generation. Because one thing they need to understand is that we're coming from two different generations, probably two different cultural backgrounds. You know, we are quite westernized and our parents are coming from Africa, wherever they're coming from, a place where maybe when that happens, it can be seen as ordinary, or it can be seen as something that happens all the time, or it can be seen as something that is the person who was actually abused, it's their fault that this has happened to them. And one thing for parents to do is they need to come into the world of their children. One thing that my dad always says to me that sticks with me is that you know, you guys were born in the UK, I was born back home in Ghana. As much as I need to instill my culture within you, but I also need to accept your culture. So I need to put the two together in order for us to have a working relationship. And that is how it's always been. And when you're able to build that relationship with your children, they will be able to share everything and anything with you. It is so important for you not to shun your children when they're talking about, you know, make your children feel free about talking to you about relationships, about boys, girls, about what is happening, you know, what is happening in their generation today, things that happened at school. So many times we're so quick to, you know, kind of shut them down, like no boyfriends till you're 21, no boyfriends till you're 25. But if you actually accommodate your children and you say to them, sit them down, say, okay, so what's going on in your life right now? You know, what kind of music are you listening to? Or what movie did you go see at the cinema? You know, and also making time for our children as well is so important. When you make time for them, you actually get to build that relationship, because relationships are based on communication. And when you observe from the outside, you see that there is so much communication breakdown in the homes of our culture, because, you know, a parent will be out working and the child will be at home. And, you know, so in the morning when the child wakes up, the parent's gone to work. When the child comes home, the parent is still at work. When the parent comes home, the child is sleeping, or the child may also be at work. So there's no time and there's no place for us to communicate with them. And as well as parents, children too, we need to not be embarrassed of our parents. You know, these are the people that brought you onto this earth. If you're embarrassed of them, you know, who are you going to turn to? You need to also be able to speak to your parents, because funnily enough, our parents know a lot more than, you know, than we know. And when they say, you know, I've been your age before, actually listen to them and listen to some of their stories, because what you'll find is that some of their stories will be very, very, very personal to you as well. It may have happened in a different time and in a different way, but when you apply it to your life, it's very similar to the things that you're going through now. You know, speak to your parents, talk to them about what is happening. You know, if your parent says something wrong, don't laugh at them. Teach them how to say it the way you want them to say it. Don't push your parents away. Let them be a part of your world. I have my parents on Instagram. I have my parents on Facebook. I have my mom on Snapchat. When I say this, people are like, what? Snapchat? How? And I'm like, but that is the relationship that I have with my mom. I don't need to hide anything from her. So she sees where I am, what time I'm out, and it's fine. And because of that relationship that I have with her, I know and believe that I can share anything with her whatsoever. And also, another thing that I'd say is that within our culture, there's a saying that sometimes a lot of adults will say that, oh, this child is impenism. It's like, oh, they're too grown for their age. No, don't. When a child is attentive and they're really intellectual, don't shut them down. If you have a child who seems to speak beyond their years, embrace it, because it is something that is absolutely amazing. When you have a child like that, know and understand that child will come to you with anything. No matter what it is, they will be able to open up to you. My young sister is exactly the same. She's 4 years old, and the things that this child will say, and I'll just be staring at her like, you know, I didn't even say half these things when I was 10 years old. But instead of shutting her down, we embrace it. And because of that, we're able to say to her that, you know what, if anything like this happens to you, if this person does this to you, let us know. When you make your child feel comfortable and you let them realize that it is not a taboo for them to speak to you when things like that happen, they will come to you with anything. It is something that really needs to be addressed within our community, because it is something that happens a lot. And so many people keep quiet about it, with the fear of knocking down family relationships, and with the fear of breaking down homes, with the fear of breaking down relationships that their parents have with their friends, all for maybe something small that their parents want to gain out of it. And it is so wrong. No matter how close you are to the person, if they do something wrong, justice needs to be served. You need to help your children. You need to tell your children that it is okay for them to come forward. I feel like in our community, reputation is so important, sometimes more important than the child's feelings. Feelings and emotions are often shunned in African households, and I don't understand why. Feelings and emotions, we're human, we all have feelings and emotions. There's no way that you can tell someone to keep their emotions in and to not. You need to express how you feel. Expressing how you feel is so important. It is a part of intellectual development. It is a part of social and mental development. It is key. And it is an important part of your emotional development. In order for you to emotionally develop according to your years and according to your age, you need to be able to express your feelings with comfort and with ease. And it is something that really needs to be addressed in our community. And if it is addressed, I can guarantee that stories like mine and testimonies like mine are probably going to triple, because there'll be so many children and young girls, young boys out there who have been abused that will be able to come and stand and not feel as though they're being looked down upon. And they'll be able to come and share with the understanding and with the idea that they are being supported fully by their communities and by the people around them as well.
Wow. And just kind of wanted to also ask, in terms of what you just said, as a parent or as a guardian, are there any signs that would indicate maybe your child has gone through such a trauma?
With every child is different. I was one that was very good at hiding how I felt. So I would mask, the way I felt by, with anything. I was really into my books. So I was one of those kids that could read a 350-page book in a day. and that is what I would do. But there were signs, because I myself saw how I was changing, and a lot of the time you may put things down to puberty or, to a child growing up, or you may just be oblivious to the fact that your child is changing. If your child's personality changes and they seem to become quieter, even something as small as the way they're dressing, the music that they're listening to, if their music choice changes, they may be less reluctant to go out. They may be less reluctant to maybe dress up if there's somebody that really likes to dress up. Maybe if you say you're going to a particular person's house and they say no, something as small as that, it should kind of indicate to you that, okay, why? Because normally we love you, you love going here, but why is it now today you don't want to go there? And also just observing how they're doing at school as well. Not every child's trauma will show up in their educational lives, but a lot of the time it can. And if it does, highlight it. Don't tell your child off for maybe failing an exam, but maybe look deeper into it, say, oh, how come you failed? Normally you're really good at this, so what's happening? Know your child really, really well. Know how your child moves. Know how your child speaks. Know what they like to do. Know their hobbies and their interests. If you're able to understand and know your child in this way, when anything changes within them, you will be able to identify that. But like I said, it can be really difficult because everyone's personality is different. Some people are really, really good at hiding feelings and emotions and hiding how they feel. And it is a case of whereby you just need to be really, really close to them. And through prayer, you will know. With God, all things are possible. So with God, you will be able to discern that, okay, something is not right. So let me speak to my child. If the more you communicate with them, the more you'll be able to pick up really subtle signs of them changing. And when it's normally those subtle signs that you need to look out for.
Wow, well said. Thank you very much. That brings me to my next question. Now, there's a lot of debate about the word or the term forgiveness. People often would say, if something as traumatic as this happened to me, how do I forgive such a person? They don't deserve my forgiveness. Would you then say that forgiveness is a part of the healing process? And if it is, how does one learn how to forgive their abuser?
Forgiveness is the most important part of your healing process. Forgiveness is what will allow you to see total healing. No matter what you do, I could be here sharing my testimony. I could share my testimony on the BBC, the ITV, but if I do not forgive my perpetrator, I'm not healed. I'm not whole. There's still that part of me that is holding on to that hurt and holding on to that pain. I say something that as a generation, we need to learn to accept an apology we never received. You need to be able to look beyond that, because what forgiveness is not for your perpetrator. Forgiveness is for yourself. When you forgive that person who has abused you, when you forgive that person who has done you wrong, there is something that you are releasing within you. It is for your own spiritual gain and for your own spiritual benefit. When you forgive them, you are letting go of that hold they have over you. When you hold on to that hatred, they still have a hold on you because you are allowing what they've done to you to still eat you up. And when you are harboring that hate, they're still sleeping fine. They're still getting the 8 hours sleep a night. You're sleeping 2 hours and waking up restless because you're still holding on to this hurt. So when you forgive them, it puts your mind at rest. It puts your heart at rest. It puts your soul at peace. It puts your mind at peace. So forgiveness is for you. So forgiving that person who has done that to you is key. It is the most, I can't stress how important forgiveness is. And in order to forgive that person, you simply just need to look at the bigger picture. Just look at it and say, okay, so this has happened to me. And, I may really, I still can't accept what this person has done to me. But because of the love that God has for me, I need to let go. Don't forget that God forgave your sins. God died on the cross in order for you to have life. And I know it's hard because you think to yourself, but how can maybe somebody like this? But we are all sinners. We are all sinners. There is no sin that is greater than another. Every sin is a sin. So what you need to look at is that if God has sent his son, Jesus Christ, to die for my sins, what more me forgiving somebody that has sinned against me, because I have sinned against God so many times. And it is that point that you need to reach in your life, and it is difficult. I know it is hard because I've been through it. And I sat down and I was like, you know what, as difficult as this is, the love that Jesus Christ had for me in order to die for my sins, that is the same love that I need to bestow upon everybody. I have this thing where I try to see the best in everyone. You can do me wrong and I will kill you with kindness. That is what I will do to you. I will kill you. I will slaughter you with kindness to the point where you probably dislike me for me disliking you. Because you can hurt me in any way, shape or form, and I will still see you, and I will not harbor anything against you, because the love that Jesus Christ has had for me is a lot greater than any hatred that you may have for me or any dislike I have for you. God's love is the ultimate love. And if I say that I am a Christian and I want to be Christ-like and I want to motivate and inspire others, I need to start with myself. I need to start myself, me, this figure needs to be a figure of motivation and a figure of inspiration. I need to be a figure of God's love. And if I'm going to be a figure of God's love, I need to love each and every single individual.
Right.
Forgiving them doesn't mean that you're forgetting. It simply means that you are letting go of that hurt that is within you, and you are saying, do you know what, God, I'm forgiving this person for my personal freedom, for my spiritual freedom. That is forgiveness. And yeah, forgiveness is key.
Wow. I mean, this is a very heart-moving interview. I feel really, seriously, the way you speak, I really do hope that whoever's following us is really, will be set free from whatever hurt they're holding on to, because the way you've just slaughtered the meaning of forgiveness, wow, I've never heard it been put that way. So thank you so much. Again, if there's anyone watching who has been through any form of abuse, or perhaps someone who's watching who knows somebody who is currently in that situation, what words do you have for that person?
What I will say to you is take heart. It is not easy. I know it is not easy, but through this, your victory is going to come. God knows the reason why everything happens. And it could be that this is the step to your breakthrough. It definitely was the step to my breakthrough, because if I had not been through what I had been through, I wouldn't be sitting here sharing my testimony with you now. You know, if I had been through what I'd been through, I wouldn't see the strength that is abounding in my life right now. I wouldn't see the favor that is abounding in my life right now. I would have taken so many things for granted. So take heart, be courageous. Look at yourself, and no one understands your worth. Your life is worth everything and anything. Don't forget that you are worth it. Each and every single individual on this world has a purpose, and so do you. Do not let what has happened to you make you feel like you aren't worth anything. You are worth so much. You are beautiful, you are brave, and you are strong, and you are bold. And do not let this eat you up. This is the beginning of your breakthrough and your victory.
Wow.
Thank you very much. I just want to ask about your mental health, in terms of when you were going through such abuse. I mean, you kind of covered it, but I just wanted to find out, how did it affect you, maybe like growing up, how did it affect you as a person more so? Because there are people who go through it, and it's not just about speaking about it, it's also how it's impacting them. And maybe that might be what's blocking them from speaking about it. So how did you deal with that side of things before you could now be kind of free?
So initially when it happened, I went through a very, very dark phase where I went from being this girly girl into this complete tomboy. I didn't want anything to do with girls, but at the same time I didn't want anything to do with boys. But I felt as though the more I was like boys, it would cause them to kind of forget me and look past me, because I didn't want any male attention. So I thought, if you don't want attention from them, why not be like them, you know? It's like, let's say a tiger going to prey on a gazelle, and the gazelle not wanting the tiger to eat them will be like, let me be like them and let me act like them and move like them so that they don't try to pounce on me. And that is the stance that I took. And it really ate me up inside, because it was a constant battle of the mind, whereby I didn't know whether I was coming or going. And, you know, there were things that were going really well. Everything physical was going well in my life, but spiritually and mentally, I was breaking down. And because I wanted to, you know, keep up this persona and keep up this persona of I'm strong, you know, nothing can break me down, you know, I'm a brick wall. But that brick wall, behind that brick wall was a very broken heart. And I needed to knock down that brick wall in order for that broken heart to come through. And that is something that I didn't do. So, you know, it got to a point where I tried to commit suicide, because I said to myself, you know, is my life worth living? People see me and think I'm happy, and you know, oh, you're happy, you're beautiful, you're clever, but I wasn't thinking these things about myself. And there is no opinion on this planet that matters more than your own. So if people are telling you every single day that you're beautiful, you're brave, you're strong, you're clever, and you don't believe these things about yourself, it's meaning it doesn't mean anything, because you need to believe those things for yourself. So it had a really negative impact on me and on my mind, but without God I wouldn't have been able to overcome it. You know, I literally had to come to a point of, you know, when I attempted to commit suicide and I woke up the next morning, I was like, this was God, because how many people attempt to commit suicide and actually go through with the attempt and still wake up the next morning? It doesn't happen. So it was from waking up that morning, I said, you know what, surely if God has allowed me to see another day, then my life is worth more than I know and more than I believe. So, you know, I've tried to do this once. I'm not going to let a second time repeat itself. I am going to work on myself, and I'm going to work on me, and I'm going to ensure that from this, I'm going to make myself stronger. And after that happened, I was like, you know, I woke up one morning and I said to myself, there are some things that I need to delete from my life. Things like disappointment, fear, regret, I don't know them anymore. It's out my vocabulary. Happiness, joy, peace, these are the things that I'm going to follow. These are the things that I'm going to pursue. I am going to pursue that thing that sets my heart on fire. And it was funny because when I was going through all of that, music was something that never left me. No matter how low I felt, I always had music, and music has been such an important part of my life, and it continues to be. And, you know, music is what allowed me to emerge from that place of solitude and that place of sadness. And what I did was, the music that I was listening to didn't empower me. And it was I got to a place and I was like, you know what, if I love music this much, surely I can use music to empower me. Change it from me listening to music when I was sad to me listening to music in order for me to get happy. And that's what I did. And I started to, you know, chase more gospel and chase more music that, you know, would lift my spirit. And what I did was, one morning I woke up and I said, okay, every morning when I'm getting ready, when I'm getting dressed, I'm going to play worship until I get to school. And I started that when I was 16, and it's something that I still do now. And when I say it makes a difference, it makes a massive difference to your day and to your mood and to you as a person. And spiritually, you will grow from that. And that is what I did. If I hadn't done that, I don't think mentally I wouldn't be sane. I would be, you know, I'd be broken. And it is only God that can keep you on that path of sanity. And it is only God that can hold you and make sure that, you know, you're able to come from that. You know, there's something that says that God can use you if you're broken. You need to understand that. And that is what I had to come to terms with. Yes, I was broken, but I was gracefully broken. And, you know, God has broken me with grace. Grace is abounding to us all. Grace is something that God has given us, that grace. No matter what, grace is yours. And you need to understand that. With that grace, you need to take, you know, advantage of that grace and say, do you know what, this grace is mine. God has given me this grace. Despite the fact that I'm broken, God wants the broken pieces, because he wants to take those broken pieces. You could be broken into a million tiny pieces that, you know, that you feel as though cannot be mended. God will take each of those million pieces and he will put them back carefully, one by one, until you are made more perfect than you were before you were broken. And that is what I had to understand. And that is, you know, what I did, and that is why I am here now.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, so it was like a conscious thing that you had to make yourself do. And I think that's something that we take for granted a lot of times, because we just maybe used to one type of music or one type of thing. That's what we do. But I guess we have to wake up being intentional. And I think your story really shows that, you know, you have to make a conscious effort to not let things get to you every single day. So I really commend you for being able to do that, because it's very easy to get stuck in one state. But the fact that you were able to, you know, leave that state and be the woman that you are now at 20 years old, you know, you didn't even live life, do you? You know, it's.
And I just want to add to what Audrey said. Audrey said, it's very easy to get stuck in one state, but I want to add for a very long time.
Yes.
Because many a times we find ourselves in situations that we hope to break free from, but we're stuck. And not only just stuck, but we're in it for very, very long.
Yeah.
So, as Audrey said, it's not just about accepting what happened, but being intentional, as Audrey said, to do something about it. Because although something as dreadful as abuse may not have been, I mean, it's usually never the person, that person's fault, but that person still has an active role to play in order to break free from it. So I mean, again, anyone listening who is in abuse of any kind, I just want Emmanuella's words to really cut deep, because if you're in that state for too long, it can really, really be detrimental. I hope that her words will cause you to wake up tomorrow morning with a brand new mentality, and start your day with a freshness to freedom, really.
Yeah.
God bless you so much.
Yeah. And so for some people who don't know, you're also a singer, and you're also a blogger. Have I left and a songwriter? Wow. So so can you tell us a bit more about that, and how that helped you?
Okay, so music, as I said, has always been a really important part of me, and I've been singing in church from the age of 12. I've been singing publicly since I was about 9.
Okay.
But it was something that I just took it for granted, and I was like, oh, I just sing in church, it's no big deal. But it wasn't until probably last year let me go back, let me rewind. So it was about 2-3 years ago. My mom was really, really ill, to the point where she was close to being on life support, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And I have younger siblings, and I was like, what am I going to do? Because if my mom isn't there, I need to take care of my siblings. What am I going to do? And music was something that I used to uplift me. So I never felt down, and I never, I just allow that music to be with me wherever I went. And through it all, I'd be by my mom's bedside, and I'd be singing, and she'd also be playing really encouraging music. Despite her state, she never lost hope, and she was always so strong. And that is why she also is the woman that she is today. And I remember that when she was healed, I was so joyful, and I was like, I'd made a promise with God, and I said, God, if you save my mother, I promise you that I will dedicate every gift you have given to me back to you, and that will be for the rest of my life. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, I've made a promise with God. You can't break promises as it is. You shouldn't break a promise with anybody, let alone God, the person that He's the giver of life. So if I've made this promise to Him, I need to fulfill it. And through that, it wasn't until last year when I went to sing at an event, and one of my favourite ministers, he's like my big brother, he's called Anointed Edmund, he was like to me, I'm doing this live recording and I need somebody to back me. Are you willing to do it? And I was like, okay, I don't mind. So, I went into it innocently because this was the first time I'd done anything like this. And, I went to a rehearsal, not knowing that rehearsal that I went to was 2 days before the live recording. I didn't know any of the songs, and I had, 2 days to learn 15 songs. And I sat there like, is this even possible? Yeah. What am I, I almost turned around and said, you know what, I can't do this anymore. But I was like, if I can do this, it could be the beginning of something, amazing, something brand new. And when I say that from that live recording, I was never the same ever again. That was probably one of the most life-changing experiences for me, but something changed within me spiritually. And when I went to church the next day and I ministered, I'd never ministered in that way, shape or form in my life. I haven't always been able to sing well. Let me put it that way. There were times when I would lift a song and I'd be like, wow. But, I ministered in a way that I wasn't just singing, but I was ministering, like it was touching people. And I was like, do you know what, maybe I should try and take this seriously. And not knowing that me doing that live recording would turn into me singing at events every single weekend from last year till till now.
Wow.
And, you know, it is a case of whereby I sit there and I'm like, how am I doing, you know, full-time education, working, and also doing ministry? But it is the grace of God. It's because God knows that, God knew that this is the gift he'd given me, and I needed to use it, and I needed to show the world, and I needed to be able to use it to impact the lives of others. And, you know, when I look at the way that I've, you know, adapted, and the way that I've grown up, and the way that I've, you know, improved, it's unbelievable. I just look at myself, I look back where I was last year, and I'm like, last year till now, great things are happening, you know. I remember going to minister at one place, and I saw Deborah Darling, and Deborah Darling was someone that I looked up to her so much. And even me being in the same room as her, I was like, oh my goodness, you know, I'm in the same room as Deborah Darling. And I remember saying to Mom that, Mom, do you know what, if I was ever like to sing with Deborah Darling, like, do you know how amazing that would be? And me saying that, and now, you know, Deborah's become like a sister, like a friend, you know, somebody that I now minister with, and it is all by the grace of God, you know. And what I just want to say with that is that if there is a gift within you that God has given to you, don't let that gift go to waste. Pursue it. Because there is a reason why God has given you that gift. He didn't give it to you by accident. No matter what, even if it takes time out of your day, God knows that he is going to replace that time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day.
Right.
But you need to make every single minute of yours count. God has given you that gift. Whatever spare time you have within those 24 hours, use that gift. God will allow you to see breakthroughs just from that gift.
Right.
And that is what I did. Same thing with the songwriting. I've been writing songs since I was 12, because I used to write songs when I was upset and when I was sad and when I was down. I just used to write and write and write and write. And that is where my songwriting came from. And slowly it is adapting. Same thing with the blogging as well. Through everything that I went through, it turned me into a very deep thinker. So I think really deeply about things that would happen in life. And the blogging started with me finding a 10p coin under my pillow one day. And I looked at it and I was like, this is a 10p coin. And I started doing all this maths in my head, because I also really love maths. And I was just like, okay, if you multiplied this 10 by 100, that's what, £100. If I multiplied 100 by another 100, that's 10,000. Multiply that 10,000 by 10,000, and, you know, I was like, you know, doing all of this, I've only had to multiply a few times and I'm already at 1 million. And I was just like, how significant is money in, you know, our generation today, and why does money have such a big impact in our communities? And I sat down and I started typing, and within 10 minutes I had 600 words on a page.
Wow.
And I sent it to my mom, and she was like, this is really good, who wrote it? And I was like, I did. And she was like, you need to do something with that. And I was like, oh no. I was like, people are going to think I'm crazy. Do you know where this thought came from? You know, I was like, this thought came from a 10p coin. That's what I said to her. I was like, Mom, I looked at a 10p coin and I wrote 600 words. That's not normal. People are going to really question my mental health if they look at this. She was like, no, you need to pursue this. And not knowing that, she'd sent it to all her WhatsApp contacts without me knowing. And I started getting messages and I was like, Mom, what have you done? And she was like, no, I mean it, do something with it. And that is where a daily dose of Ella came from. And I started blogging more seriously, and, you know, and then I started posting daily quotes, and that is where
Now
it's
you're
all come
here.
from. And now I'm here.
Wow.
That is amazing. That is, yeah. I just want to kind of quickly say something. My mom said to me recently that our generation is a generation, how do I say, where God's revelation or God's mysteries is being revealed to us. Because she was saying that in her generation it was kind of, this is what the Bible says, that's it. People followed it. But our generation, we're really digging deep into the word and really extracting, you know, God's mysteries. So I just want to say, like, to encourage you to kind of keep doing what you're doing, because having done this show and having had the guests that we've had, they've all been young people. You know, and at 20 you've gone through so much, but just look at the things that you're saying and the things that are coming out of your mouth. You know,
I even forgot she's funny, you know.
Yeah, like, you know, it's yes, we are a generation that have a lot of things facing us, but we're also the generation that God is using.
Definitely.
And your gift is what kind of drew you from that dark place. So I just want to encourage everybody, when you're in a dark place, it is your gift that will take you out of it.
Definitely.
So, you know, thank you so much for your words and your inspiration, and just keep doing it. You're only 20. Like,
Wow.
can't believe it. Can't believe it. You know, just seriously, just keep doing what you're doing, and don't stop.
Don't stop.
There's so much more in store for you.
It is said that, you know, your gift will make room for you, and it's absolutely making room for you.
Definitely.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Emmanuella.
No worries, that's fine.
They say that singing is a healer. And
you know what's coming.
I'm sorry, I got to do it.
Coming.
And I just hope it doesn't get me teary. If it does, guys, I'm sorry. It will happen. If there's anything, please, I want you to sing for us. I know there's someone listening right now who your words have really, really got them. And I believe that your voice will just put the icing on the cake. So, yeah, the floor's yours.
Okay,
just a line or two.
Okay. I'm going to sing the song that I've declared as my anthem for the rest of the year. It's You Are My Strength. So. You are my strength. My strength like no other, strength like no other, and it reaches to me. 'Cause when I'm in the fullness of your grace, and in the power of your name, you lift me up. You lift me up. And when I'm in the fullness of your grace, and in the power of your name, you lift me up. Hey, you lift me up. Amen.
Wow, I didn't want you to stop. God bless you so much.
Thank you.
I'm not even going to try. I can rap it though. I'm joking. Wow. We're winding down now. I really don't want to let you go, but our time is fast spent. How do we connect with Emmanuella? Are you on social media? How do we get, you know, to your blogs? And if you're performing or ministering somewhere and we want to come and support, how do we do that?
So my blog is the site for that is adailydoseofella.wordpress.com. If you go on that, you will see my blog and all my posts. I post on there at the end of every month, so keep a lookout. I'm on Instagram as A Daily Dose of Ella. I'm also on Facebook as there's a Facebook page dedicated to Daily Dose of Ella. My Facebook name is Emmanuella Nana Marfo. And on Snapchat, I'm on Snapchat as well, A Daily Dose of Ella. You will find me there too. Please follow me. I follow back. I add. I do. I do it all. Don't hesitate to say hi. Say hi to me. I will say hi back. Just connect with me. Whenever I have events, I post them up on all my social media platforms, so you will see them and you will know. So yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been such an amazing interview, and I think I've said it a few times already, but I really, really do feel that someone has been blessed by your testimony. I guess that's the whole point of this segment.
Yeah.
It's to inspire, it's to encourage, and it's to give people the opportunity to step out of that darkness and embrace a new light. And I really do believe that your testimony has begun that process. So Amen. God bless you so much.
God bless you too.
Based on, the stats that we gave earlier was from the NHPCC website, and I just wanted to give a few details. So if you know anyone who perhaps is in child abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, anything like this, you can actually give the NHPCC a call, and the number is 0800-111. That is if the person is under 18. And also, if you know someone that needs just a word of advice or, some help in any way, shape or form, the number is 0808 800 5000. We're about to enter the last segment of our show, which we like to call Word. Now, this part of the show is where we leave something real with you, something meaningful, something to carry you through the week. And it could be a testimony, a poem, some words of inspiration. And this week, what do we have, Audrey?
We have. I'm just trying to
Sorry, I
there's
put her
quite
on
a
the spot
few
there.
that I wanted to kind of say,
Yes.
which I might do two actually.
Okay.
So the first one is something that was mentioned here, and it was your gift makes room for you. And for me personally, having listened to Emmanuella's testimony, I feel like, or what I received from it was that it was her gift that kind of took her or elevated her to where she is now. And a lot of times we don't know what our gift is, or a lot of times we don't know where to start, or even how to kind of find a gift. We know we have a talent, but we don't know, we can't differentiate that from our gift. But it is your gift that your talent will take you through the door, but your gift will take you all the way, if that makes sense. Your gift will allow you to break boundaries and break any ceilings which could potentially stop you once you get through the door with your talent. And I think for me, what I took away today is the fact that your gift makes room for you, because no matter where you go, it is a gift that people will see. Your talent is good to have your talent. It's good to know what that is, but it is your gift that will shine and that will give you your glory. So that's the first one. And then the second one is from Buddha. Is it from Buddha? I just lost it. I literally just had it. I'm going to find it. Give me 1 second. I don't know what happened. Right. It says, health is the greatest gift, contentment the greatest wealth, faithfulness the best relationship. And I just wanted to kind of draw on that, because we've talked about mental health, we've talked about relationship with parents, we've talked about wealth with your blog and how it came about, and all these things are components of life that I guess we try to make perfect.
Yeah.
And we try to find the perfect relationship with our parents, the right amount of money to feel comfortable, and I just want to say that all of these things come from our gifts. They're not things that are for us or that are owed to us in any sense or form. It's something that you have to work on. So I just wanted to kind of draw on that and say that Emmanuella is where she is because she's worked on these things. She's actively, consciously wakes up every day and chooses to work on these things, and along with a gift, that is what has got her where she is. So just want to encourage everyone, that your health, that your wealth, that your relationships, all of these things are things you have to actively work on, and you can see from her testimony that they all work together. It's not, one is not separate from the other,
right?
So you have to work on all of them, or on one, so that one can foster the other.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah.
And just to add to that really briefly, the word of God does say that faith without works is dead. So in other words, we got the faith to move on with something, but you've got to put work to it. Many a times we feel like something's going to drop out of heaven and do it for us, or we're going to hear the word of the Lord speak to us like this. It doesn't work like that. God has given us our own two legs, our own two legs, our pair of legs, our arms.
I got 6 legs, people.
A brain to think. He's given us everything we need to do it. So don't ever think that you can't do it. You can do it. Word of God also clearly says that he would never give you anything that is beyond you, or something that he knows that you can't handle. So you can handle it, although at times it may feel quite overwhelming, or a day that you just don't want to get out of bed, but you can get out of bed if you choose to.
That's right. It
has to be a choice. So I can go on and on about this, but we're really out of time. I just want to read some comments real quick from Facebook. We have Princess Ajimang. She says, well done, keep up the good work. Gina Mensa, God bless you, dear, keep it up. Amma, good points given. Carlos, this is awesome. Porsche says, God bless you for the advice, Emmanuella, keep it up, girl. Abigail, she says, well done, girl. Esther, she says, to God be the glory. We are simply blessed to have you. Also a comment from Janet. May God continue to bless you, my dear. Esther also says, thanks for sharing, Ella. Very inspirational. The comments go on and on. Please, when you have a moment, Emmanuella, please go through them. Thank you so much for the support and tuning in. We hope you enjoy that and are feeling revitalized inside. No two Tuesdays are the same here on Happy Hour. So please share the love. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And there are many ways you can do that.
That is right. As usual, you can follow us on Instagram, which is Happy Hour Tuesdays. You can like our Facebook page, which is Happy Hour Tuesdays. You can follow Angel on Twitter.
She is Angel B.
And you can follow me at Miss Auds for any updates, any content, any interviews, whatever is going on with us. You can follow us and find out what's happening. Also, we'd like to know what you thought of today's show. You know, I hope it has inspired you to live life with more intention, and you can do so with our hashtag After Hours with a Z, or you can email us info@happyhourtuesdays.com.
Yes. Now we are out here on Tuesdays bringing you your favorites, and 1 hour simply is not enough, clearly, because we've gone over time yet again. But this is fine. You can catch up on our latest shows on YouTube. So all you need to do is go to YouTube, go in your search engine, type in Happy Hour with Angel and Audrey, and all of our shows will come up. Please click and enjoy. If you'd like to advertise with us or get in the studio for an interview, you can get in contact the same ways. info@happyhourtuesdays with a Z.com.
That's right. And if today has inspired you to share your testimony, and you would like to get in the studio and you would like to, you know, hopefully help someone else out there, you can do so the same way, which is info@happyhourtuesdays.com. We hope you enjoyed today's show.
Yes.
We hope you've truly felt inspired, and just let us know what if her story has made you do something for yourself. You know, we'd like to follow up and just keep up to date with what's happening. So you can do that as through our various social medias. You can tune in same time.
In a fortnight.
In a fortnight, 8 to 9 p.m. on COP UK Radio.
Yes, we're going to leave you with a lovely song called Put It on the Altar. It's by Jessica Reedy. And the reason why we're playing this is because Emmanuella said something. She said the first thing she did was pray. And this is the piece that often goes missing when we are going through something. We usually pick up the phone and talk to our best friend, pick up the phone and talk to, I don't know, a mutual friend, or we go and Google. But tonight we want to encourage you that Google is God. We need to pray first before we do anything else. So this is Jessica Reedy with Put It on the Altar. We love you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Let me hear you say, oh, oh, oh. Let me hear you say, oh. It's been a real hard couple of months, you had enough, but it's been hard for everyone, you're not alone, you've been hurting way too long, let it go and just move on, make your way down to the altar, hand it over and leave it there. It's gonna be alright. 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 So everything that you've been worried about, put it on the altar. You need him to work it out. He'll work it out, yeah. Put it on the altar. All of your burdens, just bring them all down, yeah. Put it on the altar. You're gonna get an answer to your prayer if you put it on the altar. I know you need healing, yeah. You're sick of being sick, you need relief. You're tired of the pressure, yeah. You got all the stress and you need some peace. Come on and get your breakthrough. Haven't you been suffering long enough?